Okay, it's time for another pitch deck critique and a bit of workshopping on this pitch deck. This comes to us from my main man, buddy Andrew Ritter of Muva. And before I begin, just wanted to always say that, I do these pitch deck critiques with founders and for founders when I believe in their startup. And I've been working with Andrew for quite some time now, and everything's in line, really digging what he's doing. He's showing some good traction. And therefore, I start with a company or a startup that's got the solid foundation that their startup is an actual valid startup. It's showing signs of traction, getting the product market fit. The unit value proposition is there. And typically what happens is the internal reality of how great the startup is and the external perception when they pitch are two different things. And that's what I'm working on as I work through these decks. What you're going to see in this is the feedback that I've gathered for Andrew, as well as I've gotten some other people to look. And I always do this. I have people look at it and say, hey, do you understand what this, I do the mom test with all my buddies and all my investor contacts when I have a chance, so that I can get them providing some feedback up front, just so that I'm not the only one who's got opinions on this. You're going to see here the concept, or what's typically known as what I call the master deck, where the founder puts all this information in one deck. And then now we got to kind of cut it down and put it into a sort of a screener deck, because we want to sharpen that tip of the arrow to get to the point where it, cuts through the noise as well as the gatekeepers and really nails it, because then there's a follow-up, and that's when you use a master deck. But the screener deck is typically, my decks come in between 11 and 15, 16 slides. And you're going to see a good example of that here. So first thing I want to point out is that you want to take advantage of everything that you've got in terms of the space. So, we've got this, great, the logo, and then we got Muva here, we got a repeat. I'd love to see a one-liner, and you're going to see where I'm going to get this from, a one-liner on your cover slide. And this is, marketing, anything to do with marketing fluff and slogans. Okay. Get rid of those. Okay. So what I mean is, get rid of the, don't make it tricky. Just be very specific. Like, it's an app that does this. And let me show you where we're going to get this from. The next slide here is the, what is Muva, the purpose? No need for this slide. You want to get straight into problem. The first slide right after should be problem, unless you've got something amazing, like you got so much traction or something like that that illustrates problem solution is already there. I remember the Facebook pitch deck had a quote, and it had traction right up front. That's typically not going to be the case. So let's take a look. You want to take these statements and figure out, what is it? Like, is it a tech platform? Like, this is a good one. A tech platform for moving and shipping goods, one-stop app and network for all moving and shipping needs. I like this one too. And here, these are going to get a little long, right? On track, building the largest, most effective. This is hyperbolic. Building the largest, most effective moving and shipping network in the world. That's too much marketing hyperbole. So I would take these, and then one of these. What you would do is you would take those statements, and then you would put it in this right underneath there. Okay. So, the tech platform, you put it right here. Tech platform for all, a network for shipping of all needs, etc. So save yourself the trouble and combine those two slides. And the reason is, you have literally 30 seconds. It's like an advertising to catch the investor's attention and be super upfront and clear. And the first thing the investor is going to want to know is, do I understand or resonate with the problem? So let's get to the problem slide. So here are, first off, problems. And like I said, I would say to Andrew, and I know Andrew's going to watch this, I know you solve a ton of problems, but we got to get into one statement, right? So what is one statement? So, you got efficiency, inconvenience, time, operating costs, resource shortage, labor shortage. Can you combine it and just say, like what is one sentence? One sentence combining all these, and there are no right solutions to this. There's only compromises in terms of what is the one sentence that you can put in there, right? And so I know that, if you had to stack rank all these problems, what's the most important, right? And I know there's a resource and labor shortage that's creating operating costs, things like that. Like you can say, 80% of moving companies are short on resources and labor, therefore their operating costs are increasing, causing major delays for the customer or something like that. Or moving has become 99% of all people who want to move things say it's a really crappy thing because there's no labor, there's shortage, costs, etc. Like, how can you make the most painful problem? So it's like pain. So what is the pain that is going to say, hey, if we don't address this pain, the consequences, what are the consequences that are really big, right? Like 3 million people are going to die, every day if we don't get this solution. I'm being hyperbolic, but that's kind of the level of pain you want to get to. So you got to figure out, okay, what is it? Like, I know another moving company, we had their problem statement. We talked about the price of consumer goods, like groceries and all that stuff, like tripling because of supply chain issues, because X percentage of the supply chain is, gunked up when it comes to this sort of stuff. So, all in all, I know like everything here is right. Everything here is valid, but no investor is going to sit and read this. Okay. So maybe you just take these key words and you put them all into one sentence. I don't know, but workshop this statement and get it into one clear sentence, maybe 3 lines that talk about the problem. If you can't boil it down into there, then already you're making the investor spend too much time thinking things through. Okay. So now let's get to the solution slide. And so this problem slide is like, the problem and solution slide to me are 80% of the deck, right? That's where 80% of the work happens. So once again, we got the same issue. Okay. I know all of these are correct. I know they all work, but how can you do the opposite of the problem? Right? So the question becomes, I think my picture is going to get in the way of that, but what is the opposite? And so if you said the problem is, there's a labor shortage, lack of resource, so costs are going up, basically Moova, your app has to solve that in reverse order. So in other words, Moova reduces and makes shipping more convenient by networking resources together and getting companies to share all their resources, right? Something like that. Because, and for those of you watching, again, this is inside baseball. I know, to me, Moova's unique value proposition is that it networks all these movers together. So instead of an app that allows you to connect with one mover, this app actually can share the resource. So people on the moving side, the supplier, can network their resources together, and it's shared resources, shared moving networking. That to me is the greatest unique value proposition. Remember, there are lots of other apps. As the founder, Andrew, has told me, he's very well researched in the competitors. Everybody's got an app. So what makes your app different? Put that into the problem and the solution. So once again, what we want to get to is one sentence, right? One sentence. I know it's hard, but remember, you only got 30 seconds of an ad to, get that going so that they go deeper. Okay, so now our problem solution, that's great. And then the Moova advantage. So this would actually be kind of falls into, how it works, right? How it works. And so how it works. Now, here's the issue is that, once the problem solution, that's going to be enough marketing as it is. Right now, all this is, there's got marketing jargon mixed in, cost and time efficiency, and cost time savings. So this is how I would put in one sentence, like, the movers download the app, create a profile, customers sending quotes, they network with other, this peer network together so they can, do faster delivery and be more efficient with time, et cetera. Right. So if I had to pick, what I like to do is I like to put like maximum 5 boxes. Right. And then I go, okay, if I could tell the story, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, how it works. And then the result is here, faster delivery, things like that. That's what I would be looking for, right? So who downloads the app? Like, exactly how does it work? Or is there any special sauce? Is there an algorithm or, et cetera? What is how it works? And remember, you're always going to be talking about how you're different and you got advantages. So you're going to go how it works slide there. Okay. So reduce this down to a how it works slide, make it very simple. And then the results. Now, okay, so results, this is like a traction slide, right? So double bookings in 2022, consumer lessons, et cetera. So now I'd love it if you're going to put a traction slide, and I don't mind traction slides up front if you got it, like make a big bold headline and say, headline right here, Moova has increase average job, doubled bookings in 2022 with average job moving from 1,000 to 6,000, et cetera. Right. For quote requests, Moova went from booking approximately 1 in 6 booking, 1 in 3. So increase of conversion from, X percent, whatever, 20, less than 20%, 17% to, 1 in 3, 33%, or, something along those lines. Right. So make it clear things. Like if you're going to put this slide, Moova has doubled its bookings since 2020. In 2022, Moova doubled its bookings. Job size increased from 1,000 to 6,000. Conversion rate went from, whatever, 16, 15, 18% to 20, 33%. Bang, 3 points. That's a great traction slide. You don't have to have all this quote, like, for example, we know you're learning lessons from movers and shippers, right? So talk about the clear results and just boil it down. Show me the numbers, give me the math, right? So that's what you want to do. Next is competition. This is a good competition slide and everything like that. I think it's good, solid. Okay, peer network. What is the peer network? Now, here's the thing. If you want to put this in here, you want to make this a differentiator, and you want to make this the unique insight or the secret sauce, right? And so, again, for me, the peer network in this is the secret sauce. So basically say, we figured out, how to do this, et cetera. Like, if you had to just boil it down to one sentence, again, you can see there's so much text going on here. And let me tell you, I know it's all right. Okay. Like, you get a smiley face. Okay. I know this is all good stuff, but how can you boil it down so that it says, this is how we are different. This is our unique insight. I know it's one slide to say, this is what we know that other people don't know. Maybe you talk about the competitors, like all other competitors. I remember talking with the founder, Andrew, saying all competitors design it from a customer point of view, not like the moving person's point of view, the mover, not moving, the customer versus the mover, and say, talk about that. Like all the other stuff has been designed for customers, for, one-on-one relationships between mover and customer, but we make this a relationship between one customer and multiple movers at the same time for jobs shared networks. Like, sharing is caring. I don't know, just clearly identify that if you're going to talk about a slide that's got your special sauce. Okay. Now, Tam Sam Som. So, what you want to do is, I like this. You could probably cut it down, a little bit right there. Figure out how to make it like TAM, estimated. So TAM, okay, annual global shipping revenues are excess of 1 trillion. Now, this is a macro. This is top down. Annual moving revenue in USA is worth $86 billion. Okay, so I would say TAM 86 billion, and then say annual moving revenue in the USA, right? In the USA. Bang, 86 billion annual moving revenue in the USA. That just really focuses it, right? SAM, which is the subset of your TAM that you believe you're, targeting, the same TAM targeted by MOVA. So SAM 500 billion, or 500 billion. That doesn't make sense. If there's 86 billion, 500 billion isn't going to, do it. So you want to say you're going to focus on the US right now because you got an English app, you haven't launched anywhere. So what is that? So if this is 86 billion, let's just say, 9 billion is your SAM. And then what's the reason that it's 9 billion? So our business model is suited for movers that, I don't know, in this specific industry, this and that. And then SOM is if we can, attain the portion of the SAM, then it's what? And typically now, if I look at investors and we see 25 billion SOM represents what is the realistic amount of revenue that we can make within a realistic point of time based on the resources we have and how much money we're raising. You saying you're going to make $25 billion, that's a little bit of a stretch. So that's the feedback that I get from investors, and I don't have to go far. I know they're immediately going to say it. So typically a believable SOM is, in the 100 million plus range, right? Type thing. So because you better have if you think you can make $25 billion annually, and I know every founder has, most founders, you're working something this big, it's like, yeah, I can definitely see myself, making $1 billion, but you got to understand, very few companies make $1 billion. Okay. And so this is where you want to make it so that's realistic for the investor, because these are savvy investors. They will calculate this, a whole bunch, right? So, and I know you're trying to explain it, but here's the thing, an investor's not going to read this. Okay. And so, when I have people look at this, they're like, I don't understand this paragraph. So, think just straightforward. TAM 86 billion. What is it? SAM, let's say it's 9 billion because 10% of the market is where we're going to focus, which does this type of thing. And if we execute our business plan correctly, we should be making, we should be easily doing $100 million a year, something simple like that. Now you have to make sure, I like this. This is good. Again, smiley face, because you've thought through the math, but just make these numbers feasible in terms of how realistic, because you don't want the investors to go, man, this guy's just completely out to lunch, or he's overconfident without some really good evidence. All right. So this TAM, SAM, SOM, you want to move this up. So typically I would put the TAM, SAM, SOM after problem solution. Okay. So, just to review. So you go problem, solution, and then market. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and then I would get into how it works, or maybe traction, special sauce, the competitors, etc. Okay, so that's just some advice there, because those are the main things that they want to look at is, problem, solution, and is this a big enough market? And all investors, professional investors, if you're going to be approaching VC firms, micro funds, etc., they're going to want to know the TAM, SAM, SOM upfront. How big is the market that you're looking at? Okay, roadmap. This, I would put this in the appendix, later on, or I would say, in the later on in terms of the traction. Just talk about. You don't need to say where we start with. Just say, the app is done, etc. Right. So just get some bullet points. This is, again, all this has been repeated, like 10x revenue growth. We've already put that in other slides. Right. So just talk about, the status of the app if you want to put there. Okay, funding, raising initial seed, $2 million, capital down the road. All right, so here's the thing. Don't put this, okay? Series A after managing, onboarding, growth. That's just a given. You don't want investors to think that you're just raising it to go raise more. You don't want to do that, right? Use of funds, I put a bullet list right there. But key is raising initial seed amount for what? To what milestone? Okay, so what is it? Launch and start generating X amount of revenue, X amount of dollars. What traction milestone are you going to say? And just say, we're raising $2 million to scale to, launch or major marketing push because already making money, or to get a certain type of approval or reach the next tech milestone so you can start making more money, right? So to launch the next phase version of the app and double the revenue that we've made in 2023 by 2024, use of funds, put it that way. So break it all down. All right, so that's how you want to approach that slide there. And then the team. So put this team before your ask. Your ask slide should be last. Okay. This is before your contact. So this is the last slide before contact info, right in the end. Okay. Info. Last slide before contact info, right? So that's where oh man, I spelled info so wrong. Info. I digress. It's just, one of those things your brain just stops working right in the middle of writing something. I don't know if that happens to you. It happens to me all the time. So this is the second last slide other than the contact information. Okay. You want to put the team, before the second last slide. You want to get in there because you want to say we're the team, to put it together. And then the team. So here's the big thing. So you've got Andrew, your last dude. You want to be first, and this is way too much information, right? So the team slide, they should all fit full-time employees, or make it very clear. So you've got the tech person, so just picture, bullets, title and bullets, like this, like just bang, 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 bang. Okay, that's how that's going to work right there. All right. So then next is okay. So team slide. Let's get moving. Cute, not necessary. And your picture there, not necessary. Okay. You don't want to throw that unless because your picture is going to be in the bio. So get some professional pictures done. And people like to see pictures of the founders. It's always, unless you got something really great. Phone number, please. Okay. Because they may want to call you. So just they don't care about the website. Just contact Andrew Ritter, phone number and email. And if you want the website, you can put that website there. Not necessary. Okay. Because they just take for granted that website is a moving target and you're going for funding and all that stuff. And you've got all those ducks in order if you got a company that's working. Okay. So there you have the overarching pitch deck review. Once again, as I stated, this is a solid pitch deck in terms of the information. Presentation just needs to be aligned and really need to focus on honing your unique value proposition, Andrew, into what makes you stand out, right? So forget this, put the purpose, put a statement under the cover by your logo there. Problem, boil it down to one sentence. Get all the information, stack rank them, pick the most painful problem with the biggest consequences, get in one statement. Solution is the opposite of the problem. So we solve the problem and this is what we've got. And then move it advantage, take this into, this is how it works. Okay. Turn this slide into how it works. And then move results. You can make a traction slide. Yay, we made so much money, etc. Competition, good slide. Probably like redesign it just a little bit. Just to kind of hammer it home a little bit more. Peer network, you can turn this into a insight secret sauce slide and how something they don't know. Tam organize it, put down the 3 bullets, sentences, make clear numbers, rework those numbers because that's not believable. That's the feedback right there. Again, move this market slide up after problem solution. Roadmap, you can create a roadmap near the end of it and just talk about the app status. Funding, okay, add the milestones, take out, you're going to raise Series A, use of funds, put some clear bullet points in there. The more detail you can get, that would be great. And then team, again, this needs to move up. The funding slide is the last part. Picture like 3-4 bullet points on why this team is so formidable. So do that. And then just make this a professional last slide. You've already included your picture with the contact information. So there's your feedback on that. And hopefully this has been educational in terms of if you start off with a master pitch deck with lots of information, how do you boil it down? And there you have it. Hopefully this has been helpful as always for everybody else watching this. Working with some really great founders here at startups.com. If you want help, we've got courses and we help people with pitch decks all the time. We work, we are fundable.com. We're helping founders raised over like $600-700 million, all that good stuff, yada, yada, yada. Basically, check out startups.com if you're interested in joining a community, getting an advisor like me. I am the lead advisor over there. And as always, appreciate everybody who watches these and who learns, especially those that put in action. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them there. More than happy to talk about that and move forward. So thanks for watching this video. Hope to see you in the next one.